Okay, so before we get started, I need to shut off this light right here because it's really bright, and I wanted to get the lighting correct for this, but so you'll forgive me and please give me an A for at least effort. So yeah, we'll just do that right now. Okay, better. Okay, well that's better now that I'm not being blinded in one eye. I actually worked on this setup for like 3 days trying to get it right, and with the light coming in from the side, it messes with the green screen, and so that's why I brought in the artificial light. And I just didn't want anybody calling me out, being like, "You've got a degree in photography and you couldn't get the lighting right." No, not today. I'll just say that, not today. I'm actually doing this from my kitchen because I got sliding doors that face north, and I was trying to get all that light in here. Anyway, I tried. Please give me an A for effort. So let's unpack this. I got a comment asking me if I was going to come on here after Heather's second failed date and make a video, and I said probably not. And the reason is because I like to get ahead of it. I like to point out the flaws, the problems with the theory ahead of time, and then when it flops, it's like, see? And but I want to point out something completely different because Heather came on here and straight up gaslit her audience. So real quick, let's go take a look at the definition of gaslighting. So here I am at the Google machine, and it says the modern definition of gaslighting is a psychological manipulation technique in which a person tries to convince someone that their reality is untrue. It is a tactic often used by narcissists to gain control over their intended target. Speaking of narcissists, by the way, Scott, your daughter was admitted to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital 3 days ago. Tabitha wanted you to know because she thinks it's kind of pathetic that a man 2,000 miles away knows more about what's going on in Show's life than you do. So yeah, all right, back to it. So anyway, this is a thing that I actually grew up with. Both my mother and father did this to me, and I just understood it as basically going back and rewriting the past because they would say, "Oh no, this is really what happened," and I'm like, really? And one thing that I learned about this is the best way to fight it is to go into the past. If that's where they're going to try to change it, to change your perception of reality, then, well, you need to go back there and you need to collect the receipts. And this was very effective for me when I was going through my divorce. I remember first showing up and picking up my children, and my wife said something just terrible. It just tore me apart because she basically said, "Oh, I just got tired of being mistreated." And so now I'm thinking, like, did I do that? Like, I don't remember mistreating her or anything like that, but I mean, this is her perception or whatever. And I just felt bad about it. I had a lot going on anyway. So, well, it just so happens that when she left in such a hurry that she left behind her prayer journals. And so these are obviously private documents between her and God. And my mother and I spent about a week going through them and pulling out any relevant data that we could possibly find, hoping that it would help in court, which it wasn't going to. And but it did help with me because one of the documents we had was all the nice things that she said about me. She never said anything bad about me. She said that I was a good husband, good father. I came home every night. I wasn't at the bars drinking. I don't come home and beat them or anything like that. When it came to something negative, it was really the way that she responded to me. She was talking about how that, she didn't treat me well here or there, whatever. And so now I've got all this stuff in my mind. I know that it was written and between her and God, so it has to be the truth. And so therefore, when she would say the terrible things to me, then I just would go back in my mind. And now I don't remember any of the things that she said because I would just pretty much kill it instantly. So anyway, as it relates to Heather, basically she came on here and made it out like it's her audience's fault that they're mad at her. She has nothing to do with it. It's not like she set a rapture date or anything like that. And so, well, we're going to take a look at some clips here and sort of dissect them, shall we? So let's look at the first clip.
So if there were other people, and I'm sure that there were, that misconstrued that I was trying to find a date for the rapture, that is on them, not on me.
You see, it's your fault that you thought the rapture was going to take place April 8th. She is not responsible for the way that you think. So, yeah, we're off to a real good start. Next clip.
I know that there are a lot of people who are upset or have feelings one way or the other about the whole April 8th thing. As many times as I could say, I'm not trying to locate the timing of the rapture. People heard what they wanted to hear, thought what they wanted to think. It was always about trying to find the commencement of the 70th week based on information that we're given. I mean, that's what I have long tried to do.
Now, the only way that that excuse would hold up is if she subscribed to a mid-trib or a post-tribulational view. And she's just saying, I'm looking for the tribulation because she doesn't hold the pre-trib view. But when you're holding to the pre-trib view, which she has made it abundantly clear that she does, then it's one and the same. I mean, let's go take a look at Chumney's book again, shall we? So here we are, The 7 Festivals of the Messiah by Eddie Chumney. And if we head down here to chapter 7 on page 102, you can see here we are in the chapter for Rosh Hashanah. And he lists off the names, themes, and idioms for this particular day. So Teshuvah, repentance; Rosh Hashanah, head of the year, birthday of the world; Yom Teruah, day of the awakening blast, feast of trumpets; Yom Hadin, day of judgment. So there's the judgment, right? Hamalek, the coronation of the Messiah. I'm not even going to try. Day of remembrance or immoral. The time of Jacob's trouble. In that Daniel's 70th week, isn't that what it's also known as? The opening of the gates, the wedding ceremony, the resurrection of the dead, the rapture. So wait a minute, we've got the rapture and we've got judgment on the same day. The last trump, shofar, and Yom HaKaseh, the hidden day. So when you say that you are looking for the start of Daniel's 70th week and not the rapture, well, we know that you're lying because it's one and the same.
I know people are more interested in the rapture. I'm not. And I don't know why people cannot grasp that I'm not talking about the that I'm not talking about the timing of the rapture, because so many of these other channels are. I am not. No matter how many times I say that, people are still not going to pay attention. They're going to hear whatever they want. And I can't do anything about that other than feel the blowback about people who don't pay attention, and then they lead other people to my channel. Well, Heather said this. No, Heather actually didn't say that. I said something else that also might have made people upset because it didn't bear out, but I didn't say that. So if you're going to accuse me of saying something, make sure you get it right.
See, this is more gaslighting. It's like, see, you're not paying attention. I never said that. And yeah, and so that is on you, and it's I'm not bearing any responsibility for it because I'm not even looking for the rapture. That's the last thing on my mind. Well, remember I said go back and take a look at the receipts? Well, let's do that, shall we?
But that's where I started. Was just after my dad passed away, having that question on his mind is, when is the rapture going to happen? And I haven't stopped since. So why do I do this? Because my dad put it in my head. When's the rapture going to happen? Why don't I know? Why can't I know? That was the predominant question. Wasn't why don't I know, is why can't I know?
So when we get to these dates and people are upset or whatever, well, first of all, I was never talking about the rapture. So people heard what they wanted to hear. That's not my fault, because there is 0 times where you will ever hear on my channel that I said the rapture is going to happen on this date.
So if you weren't talking about the rapture, then what were you talking about? I mean, we're looking for the location of Atlantis? Is that what all this research was? Like, it's just weird that you set on this journey to figure out when the date for the rapture is, and you found the Fountain of Youth. You proved that Loch Ness Monster is real. Discovered the formula for transparent aluminum. Scratch that last one. That's actually a thing now, so it's no longer a fictional thing on Star Trek. All right, so let's just see. And again, this is trying to alter the perception of the people. And it said something about this is a typical tactic that narcissists use. And I find it interesting that I've been thrown into this narcissist abuse awareness because of how SC treated his ex, and I just, and for various other reasons. 3 weeks ago, I had a 3-hour conversation with the Batwolf. Now, if you don't know who the Batwolf is, I don't blame you. I would have never found his channel, but apparently his content has actually helped out Scott's ex. And so we're just sitting there talking, and I'm just like, how did I end up in this world? Now, he only has something like 700,000 followers on TikTok, so I get it if you've never heard of him before. And no telling what else he's got on Instagram and whatever other platform. He's on Facebook, because I do message him from time to time. So I'm slowly learning about these tactics that we see that narcissists use. And one thing that I've learned about it is it's always about their how people perceive them. Like, it's all about how they look. And, well, that's why she kind of shifts this whole thing. Instead of being like, look, I'm a heretic, she turns around and tries to make it sound like, oh, I'm a trailblazer. Like, I'm the spearhead of this thing, and there's just people that just sit around, don't do anything, and they just want to make fun of us that are actually doing something in the world.
Creativity demands the ability to be wrong and be okay with that. Innovation requires the ability to be wrong and to be okay with that. It's the other people who aren't risk takers, who aren't creators, who aren't innovators, who will sit back and, unfortunately, scoff and laugh at people who did take the risk and did get it wrong.
The thing is, what you were doing and what, say, Elon Musk is doing are two different things. I mean, he's revolutionized space flight and electric vehicles. And are you trying to revolutionize the Bible? I mean, is that what I don't think creativity and the law are very compatible things. It's not like it's a suggestion. And the thing is, these people that you say are mocking and scoffing at you, no, it's about accountability. I really, really wanted to take a break from all this stuff. Like, if your video wasn't sent to me, I probably wouldn't be on here. But since I feel obligated, especially coming from the stance that a lot of the people that are essentially attempting to hold these rapture watcher seeker people accountable usually are people that just don't subscribe to the idea of the rapture at all. In contrast, I do. I can see that it's been written about throughout church history all the way back to the early church. So when I come on here and I say you need to shut it down, it's not because I don't subscribe to the rapture, and I just think that you're a complete heretic because of that. I've taught it for years. And that's why my voice matters on this platform, because I don't have a knee-jerk reaction of you're wrong because you believe in the rapture. No, you're wrong because of a lot of the things that you're teaching that has brought you to the conclusion that you've come to. And I tried to point that out to you. I sent you messages and emails and stuff, but I guess you're just smarter than me.
And again, you're going to have the people who are risk takers, who are innovators, who are business builders, who understand all of this. And you're going to have the rest of the people who are sitting back, who haven't done a dang thing in their life ever because they were too afraid to fail, sitting back laughing and just waiting for other people to fail so they can say, ha ha, I told you so.
Do you think the Gnostics were thinking that they were using their ingenuity and creativity when they were coming up with all their heresies? Matter of fact, Irenaeus wrote a book against heresies in 180 AD, just 150 years after Yeshua walked this earth. The thing is, I am not amused by people who deceive others. And most of what you teach is objectively wrong. And a lot of it has actually been argued and is documented. For example, the 49 versus 50 year thing that you're teaching for the Jubilee. There was one rabbi about 1,800 years ago that thought it was 49 years, and all the other rabbis were like, no. And they came to the conclusion that the 51st year is the first year of the next 50-year cycle. So he was wrong. And this is all documented in the Talmud. The thing is, the word says that those who teach, they will be held to a higher standard in judgment. And that might be something that you should think about.
Simply because I got the Nissan 10 thing, this is...
And she couldn't even say the word wrong. It's about image when it comes to narcissists. And am I calling her a narcissist? No. All I'm saying is, we read the definition of gaslighting, and it says that it's a tactic that narcissists use.